Hi everybody, today we are going to learn how to loom knit a mitten. We're going to start by making a slip knot. And we're going to attach it to our anchor peg. We're going to start casting on. Starting at the first peg, we're going to make a little E around each one of the pegs, all the way around the loom. For this project, I'm using Charisma yarn by Loops and Threads, and it's a number 5 bulky. This is also the same yarn that I used to make my second messy bun hat. I really like the way this yarn feels, and it's very easy to work with. Okay, now we are back to the anchor peg, so we are going to do 2 knits. So for this, I'm going to do the E-wrap knit. I'm going to knit over. Then we're going to do 2 purl stitches. So 2 knits, 2 purls. We're working on our cuff. This will be the design for the cuff, and there's no special length that I'm making mine. I'm just going to make it how big I want it. So you can make yours as big or small as you want. So again, it's 2 knits and 2 purls. I do recommend keeping track of your rows or the length of your cuff because you want both mittens to match the cuff size. The length should be even. Continue this process until you reach your desired cuff length. It's always a good idea to push down your work as you go so you have enough room for your new stitches. Go ahead and pause the video and I will see you back after you have made your cuff. The time has come where we are going to need to get rid of this knot. So this is where we made our slip knot. So we're going to have to add it to the middle now because we've got enough work where it needs to, the tension needs to be let out of it. So just go ahead and remove it from the peg and pull it out. Okay, this is my cuff and it measures about 3 inches. And this again is my knit pearl. So now we're going to start at the anchor peg and we're going to just do a single knit. So you can do it a flat knit, you can do it a U-knit. U-knits seem to be less tight, so it might go faster if you do a U-knit. Either one is fine though. Sometimes you can do 2 at a time. Once you get in the groove, it seems to go faster. So just start and do a single knit. And again, it's technically called the U-knit, and it's a little less tight than the flat knit. We are now forming the area from the cuff to where the thumb begins. I'm making this portion a little over 3¼ inches. If you have a bigger hand, you might want to go a little bigger, obviously. But I have a normal size hand, so I'm just gonna go a little over 3¼ inches to make the area from the cuff to the beginning of the thumb. So continue doing your U-knit or your flat knit, whatever you're doing, and I will meet you back after you've done about 3¼ little over 3¼ inches. Again, you can do 2 or 3 pegs at a time. One thing you have to remember though, if you're going to do that, your tension is going to be a little more than if you were to do 1 at a time. So on your working yarn, it may be a little tight if you're doing it this way. You can do it this way to try and save time if you want to do that, but again, the U-wrap is a little less loose. Just something to keep in mind that you will have some tension if you go 2 or 3 pegs at a time. So go ahead and pause the video and work on the area again from your cuff up to the start of your thumb, and I will see you when you are done with that. Okay, the area from my cuff to the beginning of my thumb is done. So now I'm going to count to the left, and I'm going to count over 6 pegs. So for my thumb, I'm going to be using 6 pegs. So instead of putting my stitch marker here, I'm going to move it to here, the next peg, number 7, to remind me just to go from 1 to 6. So we're going to work back and forth doing the U-knit stitch. Again, it's the same stitch as we have been using, just the flat knit, the U-knit. The U-knit is a little loose, so a little more easier to get over that peg. So I'm just going to do that back and forth, and this is going to form my thumb. Okay, my thumb is done, and now we are going to close our thumb off, starting at the anchor peg, and we're going to work our way around, and we're going to do the U-knit stitch again. You'll want to continue doing this method until your fingertips are just about covered. So try the mitt on while it's on the loom, and as you're working your way up, you'll just have the very tip of your finger showing, and that's when you need to stop. I am to the top of my mitten now. I'm going to take the mitten off of the loom, so wrap your working yarn around the loom a few times and go ahead and knit your darning needle. We're going to take our mitten off of our loom now, and we'll do this by using the gather method bind off. So we'll start at our first peg and we'll take our needle and insert it up. Take that, put it through, and a lot of times it's easier to take the stitch off of the peg. It releases some tension, so just draw it through. We'll go to our next one. Basically, this is what we do the entire way around the loom. Insert the needle up and move it through for each peg. I also use my tool to help me get the yarn off the peg. Sometimes I just can't do it with the needle alone. So keep moving this way and doing this the entire way around the loom, and we will end up with one stitch by the anchor peg. Okay, we're down to our one stitch. So you just place the needle up, pull it off the loom, pull it through that last loop on the mitten, and it'll kind of fall out. And now we are going to pull the working yarn and make it tight at the top. I like to straighten out the ends, see how it looks. And then I'm going to turn it inside out. Now we're going to pull on the working yarn and close that hole. So we're going to pull it, and I suggest trying to make it as even as possible when you're knitting or when you're sewing across, because you want your fingers to feel an even line at the top. you don't want like one side to be smaller than the other side. So it's important that you give it the same attention on both sides. So just keep sewing until you have closed the top completely. Then we're going to work on our thumb. Okay, we're still working with the mitten inside out. We've got our top sewn up. Now we're going to work on our thumb. So go ahead and take a piece of yarn and make a knot at the end. And we're just going to start sewing the thumb together on the sides. And what I like to do is take the very end stitch and pull it through and just work my way down using the last stitch on the mitten. Just putting it through. Pinch the thumb flat when you're doing this. That will help when you're sewing it. So you don't want to miss a stitch. Then you'll have a hole in your thumb, and that is no good. Take your time, don't rush. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie off this piece of yarn. I'm now done with my first side, so I'm going to make a knot and weave this in. Now we're just going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Just sew in the end stitches, go back and forth until you've sewed the other side of the thumb up. Again, take your time. Do it as slow as you need to, and as long as you're getting the end stitch, you'll be fine. Just work your way up and make sure you hit them all, and that way there'll be no holes. Continue doing this the exact way as the other side. Work your way up and you will be finished. After you're done with your thumb, you'll want to work in the yarn in your cuff where the slip knot was. Just weave that in and you will be finished with your mitten. That concludes our video on how to loom knit a pair of mittens. I hope that you have found this video helpful. If you have, please give me a comment below and give me a like if you would. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Bye.